Hi guys, hope you are well. Welcome back if you have been here before. If you're new here, then my name is Alice Douglas and I am a acupuncturist. I founded two acupuncture clinics in southeast London, which due to the coronavirus have had to close. And so I am doing these webinars as a way of trying to support my patients and also the wider community. They are all being recorded and uploaded onto YouTube, so you can watch them back, but I thought I might as well do them live, and then they're there for people as well when they want them off YouTube. So how this basically works is we just run through acupuncture points from the top of our head all the way down, and each point I'll give a little bit of information about why that point's useful in helping us relieve stress and anxiety. Each class is standalone. You don't have to have done anything before or been to one before to be able to join in, but they are also following a bit of a sequence. So if you follow along with them, you'll kind of learn more each time. A few things to note about how this is going to work. We need to apply pressure to the points, and when we've found it, I'll just say apply pressure, and all you need is your finger or maybe your thumb and just applying pressure really simply, like so. I'll then say small circles, and all you need to start doing is moving in very small circles where you are, and then I'll say big circles and you just move in a larger circle on that point. And obviously I'll show you how to find each one. The other thing to note is your breathing. I will remind you to breathe as we go along. And what's important here is just that the out breath is longer than the in. So for me, what feels really comfortable is breathing in for 4 and out for 7. So if you give that a try now, breathing in for 4 and out for 7, see how that feels for you. Do you need to adjust that to something that's more comfortable? All that's important here is that the out breath is longer than the in. Having that is a way that just simply through our breathing of relaxing the central nervous system and bringing the body out of fight or flight and into our rest and recuperation phase of the body. So obviously that's where we want to be during this session. Hopefully you found something now that feels comfortable for you. So tonight's session is specifically focusing on what we call in Chinese medicine the Shao Yin axis. And what this really means is the relationship between our heart and our kidneys. In Chinese medicine, we think of this as kind of the strongest vertical axis that we have within the body. And we also describe it as the fire and water axis. Fire being the heart, water being the kidneys. All we mean here really is that these two organs balance each other and have a very close working relationship. They're also very impacted by emotions, which is why they're great to do to really nourish at the moment, and especially for mental well-being. And so when we're nourishing these organs, we're trying to combat the damage that can be done by shock, trauma, anxiety, stress. They can all upset this relationship between the heart and the kidneys. So a lot of the points we do this evening will be on those two channels and trying to just balance those two organs. Okay, let's get started. So the first one is starting from the top of the head. We always start with this point. So the way to find this is to find the point of your ear, the highest point of the ear. The easiest way to do this is almost imagine somebody's picking you up by your ears. That's where you need to be. From here, just move up and over onto the top of the head. You want to be on the midline, so in line with the center of your, or between your eyes, sorry, and coming back about here. That's where we want to be. So just apply that pressure. And now start to think about that breath. So again, we're making sure that the out breath is longer than the in here. and small circles. So this point is all about bringing clean, clear energy up to the head and nourishing the brain. So it's a really great point to start off with, getting clean thoughts up to the brain. And big circles. This is also a really great point for concentration. So if you're feeling like that's something you're losing quite easily at the moment, this could be a really great point to use. Okay. Now we're coming down, we're just going in between the eyebrows right here and applying pressure. And again, now bring the thought back to the breath, making sure the out breath is longer than the in. And now small circles. And this point translates in Chinese medicine from yin tang to hall of impression. And that's to do with the fact that we see this point as an ability, it has an ability to, again, cleaning the mind and giving us a new insight, helping to move away negative, turgid energy and bring back clean, clear energy. And big circles. I always find this point feels really great when you're moving it. Okay, now we're coming onto the chest, and we're actually going to be finding 3 points on each side at the same time. It sounds complicated, but it's not. So all we need to do here is, first of all, find the collarbone. This is just the bone that sticks out running across the top of our chest here. If you put your fingers kind of near the end of this bone and drop down, you'll see you fall into a dip. Come down again and you'll see you're on another bone. This is our first rib, and if we drop down again, this is the first point that we want to have found. So we're just below the first rib. Keep these fingers here and now take your middle fingers and sit them below these two. This will now feel different to what it feels like underneath your first finger. You're now on bone. Drop below again and you're now below the second rib. And we're going to do the same again with this third finger. So sit below this one and you're on bone. Drop down again and you're on a fleshy area. This can feel quite tender on some people, especially on women, because we are going onto breast tissue here. But just be careful about how much pressure you're applying and concentrate on that breath. And now small circles. And so these are all kidney points that we're currently using, and they're lying over the lung and the heart area. So this is a great way of connecting the heart and the kidney by using these points. And they all have a very similar function. And this is about descending the energy of the heart as it should. It should be moving down, and that's what we want. Releasing tension that we might be feeling in the chest, and big circles, and just generally calming the mind and nourishing the heart. Okay, now we're going to be coming onto the arm. So to find this point, what we need to do is bend your arm, and you're coming to the end of your elbow crease. So wherever this line ends for you, that's where you need to apply pressure. So you can have your arm flat in front of you, you bend it first, and then apply the pressure. So hold that point there, and again, bringing the attention back to the breath. So we're now on the heart channel. So we're directly working with the heart. And small circles. And so we're on a fire channel. That's what we would call it in Chinese medicine, because of that heart represented as fire in the body. And big circles. And this is also a water point. So we're now on a water point on a fire channel. Okay, now exactly on the other arm. So just bending the arm, coming to the end of that elbow crease, wherever that is, apply that pressure and then relax the arm. And hold that there. And again, we're bringing the focus back to the breath. So the in breath shorter than the out. And small circles. So as I mentioned, this is a water point on a fire channel, and what this means is we're balancing the water element within the fire organ. Whether that's too much water, too little water, we're bringing back balance to the heart, and how much nourishment the heart needs from the kidneys. We're bringing that back into balance by using this point. And big circles. Focus on that breath. Breathing out for longer than we're breathing in. Great. Okay, now we're coming on wrist. Now to find this point, it's probably easiest if you have your hand line in front of you. I'm obviously going to have it up like this just so you can see. We're working on the inside, the outer edge of the arm, if it's up like this, inside if it's down in front of you. And we're sitting, this point sits on the wrist crease, just here. The easiest way to do this, if you bend your hand back slightly and come to kind of the corner of your hand here and roll it around, you'll feel like a round bone beneath your finger. Now just roll that finger in so you've come off of that bone, you're into a bit of a dip and you're sitting on the wrist crease like so. And apply that pressure. And so if you've been following along with these, you will notice this point has been in every session. And that's because this point is all about the energy of the heart. And it's the main point we use for emotions of any kind, really, but specifically around emotions of the heart. And small circles. And big circles. And this point in Chinese is called Shen Men, which again translates as spirit gate. It shows that we think this is a point that allows us to really access and nourish the spirit. Okay, and moving to the other side, so just do the same again. So we're on this wrist crease, come to this corner of the hand, roll around, you'll feel that round bone beneath your fingers. Wrist crease, and you'll fall into a dip and apply pressure. And again, bringing the thought back to the breath, making sure that the out breath is longer than the in. And small circles. And so this is a really great point for lifting the mood. But I also think it's one of the most important points for anxiety and reducing the level of anxiety that we're feeling. and big circles. And so, if you are struggling with anxiety a lot at the moment, this is a point to remember and to use when that anxiety is really getting high. You can use this at any time just to lower it again and combine it with the breath when you do that. Okay, next point. This one, all you need to do is make a fist with your hand, and where your little finger is now sitting is the point that we want. So just here, wherever that little finger rests when we make a fist, that's where we want to apply pressure. And this point, especially if we are experiencing a lot of stress and anxiety, can feel quite tender. So again, moderate the pressure if you need to, if that is feeling tender for you. And small circles. And so at this point, we're still on the heart channel, but this is the fire point on the heart channel. So we're now balancing fire within the heart. And big circles. Okay, same on the other side. Make a fist. Where that little finger's sitting, that's where the point is. Apply that pressure. Hold and bring the attention back to the breath. So we've already balanced water within the fire element from the point we've already done. And now we're balancing fire within that element. And small circles. And the references to fire and water can seem confusing, but really all it means is we are again just balancing between the heart and kidney, and we're nourishing the relationship that those two organs have. And big circles. Okay, we're now going to be coming onto the ankles. So I'm going to slightly move the camera. You won't probably be able to see the top of me, but it gives you a better view of what I'm doing on my feet. I'm only going to be showing you these on one side, but you should be able to do these both at the same time, whether that's with your legs crossed or you can have them up like this in front of you, however feels comfortable. You're going to be doing both sides at the same time. Obviously, I won't be able to show you it like that. So I'm just going to come and sit on the side just so it's easier for you guys to see. And then coming here and we're coming onto the ankle. So we have our kind of main ankle bone here on the inside of the leg. And from this bone, if you sit on the highest point, kind of the bit that sticks out the most, and all you need to do is come off that bone so you don't feel like you're on that peak anymore. You're just below. And apply pressure. And again, so you're doing this on both sides. So we've now moved onto the kidney channel. You'll notice all the kidney points we now do are on the feet, and a lot of the heart points are on the hands. That has a lot to do with where those organs are in the body. And therefore, we're pulling the kidney energy down. And small circles. And this point translates as shining sea. So again, we're referencing that relationship with water again. And with this point, we're really balancing water within the water element. And again, whether that's too much or too little. And big circles. Okay, for this next one, you're coming from this bone here where we just were. Again, have your finger on the highest part and now move backwards towards this tendon that runs up the back of the leg. Between the bone and that tendon, you have a fleshy portion here, which you can usually squeeze from either side. That's where we want to be. And actually, it can be nice when applying this pressure to have your finger like this and be able to push back the pressure below from the other side and then pressure on this side also. And again, you're doing this on both sides at the same time. So apply pressure. And bring the attention back to the breath. and small circles. And so this point is one of the main points for nourishing the kidneys. And big circles. And this point really works with fear. Fear is the emotion that we most associate with the kidneys. And therefore, this is really great for helping to calm fear, settle the mind. Especially when doing big movements on this point, it can feel really lovely. Okay, and now coming on to the point on the sole of the foot. Again, we've been doing this one every week. To find this point, you're coming below the balls of your feet, down into a dip. You can actually see it if you stretch your foot back. This dip is created here. It's actually really naturally where your hand will grab. So if you place your hand on top of the foot and let the thumb roll over, this is really naturally where the thumb will sit, just here. And again, we're doing this to both feet together. So just apply that pressure. And for this point, we're not going to move. We're just going to hold the same amount of pressure the whole time. So we've moved all the way from the highest point on the body all the way down to the lowest. And we're now pulling the energy down. We're using the end of the kidney channel and we're helping to ground the body. So if you are feeling like you're in need of some grounding, this is something you can do at any time. It's a really great way to move energy away from the chest where we might be feeling panic and anxiety and lowering that through the body. So now we're just going to hold this point and really focus on the breathing for a couple of minutes. Okay, guys, that's it for this evening. Thank you very much for joining me. I hope that you have felt some benefit from it, and we've been able to nourish this super important emotional connection between the heart and the kidneys. Um, Thanks for joining, and I am here each week now for the rest of the month. I think next week it might be being moved to a Wednesday. Since you've already signed up, an email will land straight in your inbox um, before the day with the link for next week's webinar. So all you have to do is click on it, and that webinar is going to be next Wednesday at 8:30 p.m. rather than the Thursday. If you're not already, follow me on Instagram. It's just at @a_d_acupuncture. I'm doing quite a lot on there over at the moment to try and provide support. And I'm also always open for chat. If you have any questions or just want to check in or get any personalised advice, then please do just get in touch. Other than that, I will see you next week, guys. Good night.